Hey guys, James here with Detailed Image, and today we're going to be talking about Gtechniq EXO V4. EXO has been around for a very long time. I remember when it initially came out in the aerosol form, and it blew me away. Thought it was like the coolest thing ever, a coating in aerosol form. And then, there's been reincarnation of EXO because EXO has been just super popular. I remember old versions of EXO. Every version always looked incredible. Some were a little bit more finicky than others. Sometimes the residue was tough to remove throughout the years. And then we had, a couple of years ago, we had V3, which was the previous version of this. And it was awesome, right? And everyone loved it, and it was just a great top coat or a standalone coating. And then they came out with V4, and that kind of just took it to a completely different level when it came to ease of application. It just became that much easier to apply. You had a little bit more working time, and it made an already great product even better, which is why I wanted to talk about EXO today. It's just been one of those coatings throughout the years that I've always turned to for different applications. It's just been something I just know is going to perform well on paint, on paint protection film, it can go on a variety of different surfaces, which makes it super usable in a lot of different situations, which is great. But to kind of go a little bit, dig a little bit deeper into EXO V4, within the single layer that you ultimately apply to the surface, you have kind of two bits of chemistry kind of going on. You have a completely inorganic base layer, and then you have your organic kind of top layer, your top part of the coating that gives, so you have your inorganic base layer creating the bonding element, so making it durable, making it stick to the paint. And then your top layer is what's giving you, that inorganic top layer is what's giving you that self-cleaning effect, the kind of signature crazy EXO water beading. So it's kind of a cool element. Unlike specific SiO2 based coatings that have a much harder structure, this is a little bit more flexible. We use this a lot on paint protection film, and from a look standpoint, there's not too much better than EXO. And you can do a variety of things. You could say, okay, I'm on my car, I'm just going to do 2 coats of EXO and call it a day, and the finish is going to be incredible. You're going to have durability up to 2 years. Or you could say, you know what, I want to do a hard, strong base coat, something like Crystal Serum Light or Crystal Serum Ultra, and then you're going to top it with this for kind of like the best of both worlds. So you have kind of a harder, stronger, slightly more scratch-resistant base, and then you're topping it with a flexible top coat that's going to give you crazy water beading, crazy self-cleaning effect, and then just bump up that gloss even more. So that's a little bit of a kind of an insight into EXO as a whole. Application, we're going to kind of go over that a little bit and kind of rock and roll from there. So for application, what I recommend when you are kind of staring at a panel, you're about to start, you obviously just want to make sure that the panel is properly degreased, oil-free, there's no polishing residue left over. That could be a isopropyl alcohol mix, that could be Gtechniq's panel wipe. It could be a variety of different oil removers, but your goal is to have this panel to be completely naked, no oils, no residue, no nothing. You want that coating to bond perfectly to the paint. After that point, you're going right into the installation. Nice thing about Gtechniq, their labeling and their instructions is always on point. You have your kind of instruction manual here in the box. You have your applicator pad, you have your pipette, you have the coating, and then you have the gloves as well for hand protection. And installation is really simple. All you do is you unscrew the cap here at the top of the bottle, take that off. You have or I should say on the top here, you have a dropper already preloaded in the bottle itself. So you can go right in and start pouring the product totally, and that would work out great. And and I've actually loved to use this specific style of dropper, or you can use this one, which is obviously gives you a little bit more control. Obviously, the coating is going to go within this pipette, and then you can apply it on the applicator pad. Totally personal preference. They give you both options, which is cool. As far as application goes, I like to do a couple of straight lines, sometimes like about 3 straight lines, not too much product on the applicator pad itself. I want to make sure that I have kind of distributed it across the pad to get a good glide to this particular pad. Otherwise, you're going to maybe generate a little bit too much friction and potentially mar the surface. So you want to have that enough coating to be able to kind of spread evenly. And what you're doing, just like most coatings, is a crisscross pattern, spreading that coating evenly. You'll notice an immediate darkening effect, which is great. And then obviously you just want to track where you end and be very deliberate about your application. Don't just kind of start going everywhere. I try to keep it in a 2x2 section. The simplicity and the ease of application of this particular product is going to make it seem like you can just kind of go crazy and apply it everywhere. But I would still be stringent with it. I would still keep within that 2x2 section, just in case. Obviously, how you install it is going to depend on the temperature, humidity, all those different things. So you're going to experience, if you stick within these guidelines, I think you'll be successful in a variety of different climates. After the EXO is applied, you have about a 2-minute sit time, something like that, and then you can start your what I like to call your 3-towel method for removal. Your first towel, right, is your initial wipe off. Straight line motions, almost no pressure, and you're just slowly removing that coating. Your goal here isn't to remove everything. Your goal here is to remove 80% of the residue, right? So we put that one to the side. We grab our secondary towel here, and we go over the same surface. I always like to usually pair this particular towel with an LED light. In this example, the Scan Grip light. And our goal here is to see any high spots, anything that's left over. Another good tip to implement is always check the adjacent panels to make sure that when you started wiping off maybe that first initial coating with the first towel, you may have pushed coating onto other panels that you hadn't applied. It's good to kind of check those just to make sure the coating hasn't been pushed onto that panel, and then it could potentially dry. So you're just checking with an LED light, and that's pretty much it. I mean, just Gtechniq recommends with EXO to do a minimum of about 2 layers. So what you can do is, if we started on this panel, you can apply to the whole vehicle, 2x2 section. Once you get back to this area, you go boom right into round 2. Apply it all the way around. And that would be if it was a standalone coating. Now, if say you did it with Crystal Serum Light. Crystal Serum Light is your base coat. So you would apply Crystal Serum Light, and then once that application is done, the same thing. Once you got back to your initial spot, you could go right into EXO first layer, then EXO second layer. Or you can wait a couple hours in between Crystal Serum Light and EXO, totally your preference. I think you have about up to 12 hours to still be able to do the EXO application. And then you just have a very, very easy finish to maintain, and just just a really, really, really nice coating. And if you guys have any questions at all about EXO, please comment below. We'll be happy to answer any questions. Thanks, guys.